Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Valar. Hope you're doing well. I haven't made a video in a few days. We had Thanksgiving here in the United States, and I was super busy with family and just enjoying family and having fun with that. And the three kids, and we hosted Thanksgiving at the house. Anyway, so that's the reason for that. But again, thank you for the support of the channel. We're growing pretty good. We're at 264 subscribers, I think I want to say. So thank you for anybody that's liked or subscribed to any videos. And if you like this, please go ahead and throw it a like and also subscribe to the channel. So I'm going to get into it. Really today, I actually did try to do a video Friday night, but I didn't want to post it because it was just such pure garbage. I wanted to try to get Venus, and I got a couple void shards, or the three void. I only summoned something like I don't know, 11 or 12. I think it was 11, 12, or 13 shards, something small, void shards, and I got all food, all rares. But it led me to think, a lot of these are going to be something that but it led me to think, what are the good void rares in this game? What are the void rares that would actually be worth building up? So this video is going to be focused on that. It's going to be a real straightforward video, just looking at the void rares that I think would be worth building up, where I would use them, and when I would use them in the game. So I'll start with the Banner Lords. I'm just going to go faction by faction. This guy here, and honestly, I've never developed this guy at all. I've fed him left and right multiple times every time I've gotten him, but he actually doesn't seem that bad if you read his skills. So I don't think most endgame players are not going to need this guy. So this video actually might help out someone who's a little bit newer or mid game. But I do think this guy actually could have some really good utility in the Magic Keep because of they win. It's a two hitter. It's a very, very small chance. It's only got a 20% chance of repeating the attack, but I don't even know if that means that he's going to hit four times. That's a little confusing, the way that's worded, but that's okay. But it does say will ignore block damage and shield buffs. So he would be good in the Magic Keep just purely because his A1 does block damage, does ignore the block damage, and ignores shield buffs as well. And he's got this one-hitter stun, so that to me seems like it could be useful to kind of stun someone or lock someone out in the arena. And he also does place a 30% increased defense buff and a 7.5% continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns, which you get to a four-turn cooldown. Now, those are the lower abilities of both, but that's a pretty good utility, so not bad. I don't think he's groundbreaking or anything, but honestly, taking a look at this guy, I'm like, well, he would actually be worth investing in as a rare, purely as a rare, because I do actually want to start doing a little bit something to test out some void rares, see if I can find some that are, hidden gems, maybe like this guy right here. Some of these are going to be the obvious choices on here too that everybody kind of knows about. The other guy that I thought would be kind of interesting in this, he doesn't seem that great, but is this guy here, Steadfast Marshal. So this is more if you don't have a good taunter or a good provoker, because he does have this. It only attacks one enemy, but it's a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn if the target's max HP is lower than the champion. He does have a pretty good high HP for a rare at 20,640. And then he's got the higher version of the increased defense, but it only places it on himself, but it also grants him an extra turn right away too. And then he places the Veil buff on everyone except him for 2 turns. Now the problem is AoE can hit through it and everything as well. He'd be an okay early game type of tank, I would say. Not great, but also not terrible for a newer player. Then this is one I'm actually probably going to 6-star. I have enough food to do it now. And she's brand new, but she's top tier as far as a rare goes. Reliquary Tender. Reliquary Tender is phenomenal. Don't even worry about this decreased attack, but it is there. It's only a one-hitter, and it's a lower version of decreased attack. But it's this that really makes her shine. These 2 abilities, her A2 and her A3. She can cleanse. She places the continuous heal buff on everybody for 2 turns. and this is on a 3-turn cooldown booked out. And then on this 5-turn cooldown, she can do a single target revive, give them some HP, and also fill their turn meter a little bit. So this is pretty phenomenal, right? I don't remember what fusion was. I think it was like a Lika or a Sakara fusion, one of those two. And she was one of the requirements for it, and she's just flat out better than they are as far as I'm concerned, and she's a rare. So she's not that hard to invest in either. She's only, this ability takes a ridiculous amount of books. What, 8 books there? So she takes 11 books. Now, if you're endgame, that's not really that big of a deal because you will probably have a gluttonous supply of rare books. But she's an obvious one to build. Sacred Order does not really get much love as far as Void Rares go. They've got Harrier and Justicar, and they both suck pretty much. And the Confessor, this one would be okay early game, I feel like. She does decrease turn meter on her A1, and then she's got an AoE that places decreased accuracy. That's okay, but it is an AoE. And then she also has a chance to get an extra turn here. So I could see her being useful, maybe in some dungeons and things like that, but she's gonna be outshined at some point, and her attack stat is actually pretty decent, but her HP is very low. Her speed is pretty good. So I would say if you're early to mid game, she might be worth taking a look at. She's not that bad. She's nowhere near phenomenal, but not that bad. So she might be a hidden gem too. And these are some that I've never. So I do want to put another caveat in here. I've never even used Confessor for anything but food. But the whole point of this is thinking maybe I'm gonna build something on the channel to look at Void Rares, where I would actually build some Void Rares. I'm definitely gonna build up Reliquary Tender and Bulwark and all the usual suspects there. But maybe some of the other stuff that's lesser known or lesser used, like Skirmisher. Skirmisher seems pretty decent. She's got a 2-hitter A1 that does a little more damage against targets with no buffs. Okay, that's okay. She does decrease turn meter on crits, and she also has an AoE that removes a random buff from each enemy. So Skirmisher actually seems like she could be decent. Decent attack stats. Her HP is actually a little bit better than she's at attack base. Speed's a little bit low, but she seems like she could be okay. I could see her being decent in some dungeons and some content too. So she'd be worth building as a rare, if in my opinion. And then this guy here too, Ragemonger. He came out, I believe, I don't know if it was a Sakara fusion as well, and he's been part of a couple fusions, even just the Brachus fusion he was part of. And to be honest, the only thing I've ever done with Ragemonger either is I've only fed him or used him to be part of a fusion. But he does seem like he would be phenomenal early game clan boss, because he does have this 7.5% continuous heal if he crits, and then he's got an AoE that hits 2 times. And each hit actually places 2.5% poisons. Now, I could see this actually being useful in dungeon waves, too. It's the lower version of the poisons, but that's pretty useful. I mean, and then you can get it up to, looks like, what, a 65% chance here for placing the 2.5% poisons for 2 turns. But it is an AoE that hits twice, so that's pretty nice. And then he also has the opportunity to hit this HP burn, which you can book up to a 55% chance. So decent guy. Ragemonger would be worth building, especially if you're early game. Ragemonger could be actually quite useful, but I could even see him being useful in certain compositions as well in dungeons mid to late game. Not phenomenal or anything, but something that could still carry you if you didn't have god tier legendaries and things. He's not a carry, he's more of an attack base, but that A2 I kind of like. I think it's pretty good. Now, in the Ogryn tribes, there's only 2 Void Rares, and everybody knows this guy. I pulled this guy early. He was my farmer. He's not going to be my farmer now. He's actually going to be I'm going to use him in dungeons. But Bellower, I mean, Bellower's got a very, very good kit because he provides a lot of utility, actually. And it's not just about his farming, right? His A1 does his block cooldown skills, which ability blocks out teams, which is really nice. And it's the fact that he can spread it to everybody. And he's also got a decreased speed. Now, they are the lower versions on these, but that's okay. And he does, on one ability by themselves, a decreased attack and a decreased defense. So for waves, Bellower's viable endgame. I mean, you've probably seen tons of videos about Bellower. I am going to redo my Bellower because I've been using him as a farmer. I have Queen Eva that just consistently farms super fast for me. I never had that great of a gear on Bellower where he could do it super quick. However, I do want to farm some, say, stun runes and things, or stun gear to put on Bellower so he can actually even provide some more utility with a stun there too. So Bellower is kind of like one of the best rares in the game as well too. And just all around great utility with that kit. Lizardmen had this new one come out, this new guy, Haruspex. And I think actually B-Hub did a video on this guy, which was pretty cool. But he looks like he'd be decent as well. And he's got, it's only a 2.5% poison. But again, this guy's really good early clan boss. And he's even viable because I think in B-Hub's video, he's using them in Dragons 20 with pretty much all rares, I believe. And still clearing it too. And then each hit's going to have an opportunity to place the 2.5% poison, and it's a 2-hitter. And then he's got this turn meter fill that also increases speed. That's a pretty nice ability. And then he does the revive a dead ally, and then fills their turn meter as well. And the aura's only good in the arena, but there's some decent utility here. He's got the turn meter fill. He's got single target res, and then also poisons too. So Haruspex actually looks pretty good, and he's the only void rare in the Lizardmen. So don't be shocked if Plarium just comes out with a new patch. Not a new patch. Plarium puts 3-4 new void rares in here that you need for some crazy ass fusion. Okay, Skinwalkers don't have anything good. The Orcs have one that I would say is good, and then he's very well known as well, but it's Veteran. Veteran can be your attack down, even in the Nightmare clan boss. He's very solid, and he's got the higher version of the attack down, so that's phenomenal for a rare champion. And I use Veteran in Faction Wars, and he's not even leveled up. I think he's like level 30, but he actually does hit pretty hard even there. I just threw all defense gear on him as well, because most of his abilities stack off defense. He's a defense-based champion, but I would say Veteran would be worth building. And then he does have the AoE block buffs, that debuff as well. So he's pretty nice, actually. I like Veteran. Veteran's got solid defense, a decent amount of HP. It's kind of low. His attack's very low. His speed's good. So looking at Veteran, he's gonna have a lot of utility. Even I feel like I said, in Faction Wars, in possibly some dungeons, definitely in Clan Boss. And he's a rare, so he's actually a lot easier to max out, which is nice. So that was the Orcs. Now we're looking at the Demon Spawn. The Demon Spawn actually have quite a few. They have 4, but there's only one I would say would be worth investing in. It would be Fellhound. One, because he's a good farmer. He's one of the best farmers if you have insane gear. But also because he's good in the Fire Knight, because he's got this reflect damage ability, and it produces a continuous heal too, where he puts both of these on everyone. So that AoE effect is pretty nice, and this is pretty much going to be permanent because it does it for 2 turns, and you can get it to a 2-turn cooldown. So once it expires, he's going to be casting this again, or doing the ability again. And then he also places a block damage buff on himself. It's only for 1 turn, but on a 3-turn cooldown. So he's got some utility in the Fire Knight. To me, Fellhound would actually be worth investing in. Now, it might be fun, but this is why I'm doing this, to actually build a lot of these heroes. Because when I did that video the other day, I just pulled nothing but food. And pulling void shards is actually really demoralizing. And granted, I didn't think I was going to get anything out of 13 shards. I mean, really, I thought I was just going to get food anyway. But I felt like, man, that kind of sucks. Like, not even anything that's usable at all. And void shards are so rare to get. They're just overvalued. So you majority get these rares. So which ones should you actually try to build? And with faction wars and things too, at least they do make it where it makes more sense sometimes to have a rare to build some rares. Kind of as your fourth or fifth slot team in there, just to fill the gap. Doom Screech is like a mini Seeker. He does scale off HP, which is actually kind of nice. This is meh. It's just a decreased accuracy 2-hitter. But this is the turn meter fill with a bigger version of the increased defense on everyone on a 3-turn cooldown that lasts for 2 turns. So almost permanent. And he's got an AoE that places a shield equal to 30% of his max HP. And if you look, he does have pretty decent max HP at 20,000. And then he's got this faction crypt HP aura, which, okay, that's what I was talking about. He would actually fit a decent role if you just want to increase the survivability of your Undead Horde faction group. The other one that we all know and love, that Stu Deucer over here. So Seducer actually, I mean, he's pretty phenomenal. I don't have him fully built yet, but I will. And I want to use him, and he can work in Dragon 20 runs. He can work all over, right? He's really good. He's got an AoE decrease attack, the smaller version of it, but he also does place the increased defense and block debuff on everyone for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. So he's a pretty good carry as well. Now, this is if you pair him with Temptress, so kind of an interesting ability there. But you're not going to, Temptress isn't really worth building. The other thing, too, is he does have this nice HP aura in all battles by 25%. In a free-to-play account that I was trying to use, which I admit I never play anymore, just because it's so hard to maintain 2 accounts in this game and actually take them seriously. But he has a nice HP aura that's better than all the other starting champions, so you get an extra 10% there. I think they all start with 15. He's got a 25% aura. So that part's really nice. We only got a little bit more to go. We got Dark Elves. The Dark Elves that I would actually focus on building are obviously Coldheart. Everybody kind of knows Coldheart for her Heart Seeker that scales off the max HP. She's great in the Spider. Coldheart is squishy as hell, though, so she's also really good in Fire Knight. But right now, I'm actually trying to work on my Royal Guard and 3 Coldhearts and doing the nuking strategy and all that. But I've really got to re-gear things and actually give her more HP because she really just kind of falls over because it's so hard to get her a good amount of HP because her HP is pretty low. So that's kind of the negative of Coldheart. But overall, she's great. And again, one of the best rares in the game. This is a guy that I'm actually considering building because I've gotten him so many times. And I think I do have him I might have him at 40 or 50, I'm not sure. And almost maxed out just from the copies I've got of him. Better early game, but he's got an A1 that does the lower version of the decreased defense. And then he's also got this counter attack that he places on himself, but it heals him by his 40% of his max HP. He doesn't have a ton of HP, but it's not the worst. But he does scale off of defense, so that part's nice, and he has pretty decent defense. And this one's nice too because it decreases turn meter. So, and then it places a sleep if for a turn. That part's not going to be that important, but the turn meter decrease is pretty nice. And then he's got a defense aura for faction crypts. So I could see this guy Retainer actually being pretty good. Maybe I'm trying to sell myself because I just keep pulling all these things all the time. But I figure at the point I'm at right now, I don't necessarily want to feed all of them all the time anymore. I want to build, well, I'm going to do that mostly, but I want to build a maxed copy of most of these rares and kind of see what I can do with them just for a fun project. That's really it. That's really it. The other one that's kind of interesting here is Eviscerator. I don't think she's phenomenal or anything, but she again has this 2-hitter with also the 2.5% poison, so a good early game clan boss type of utility there. AoE with the decreased defense, small version of it, but that's a pretty decent too. And then this is pretty interesting. So she attacks an enemy champion with the default skill whenever they are healed or receive a buff as their passive, and attacks one random enemy if multiple enemies are healed or receive a buff at the same time. That's kind of interesting. I mean, that's kind of unique. And to be honest, I've ignored her. I'm pretty sure this one actually came out too. They love to throw void rares into all their fusions, and when they bring out new ones, there's always a new void rare. I think this girl was involved in the Foley fusion. That's the first fusion that I was around for, because I started at the end of May, and then I think that was beginning of July, maybe end of June timeframe they started that. I could swear she was part of this, and I literally had a copy of her just sitting in my vault for forever, but I just fed her to get Brachus. But that's okay. But I think she's not too bad. Now this one is great. Painkeeper, even after nerf. Painkeeper, I was using a level 50 in all the potion keep dungeons, and she was great. I don't really use her that much anymore because her main utility to me feels like she does have healing, which is great. But I have Prince Kymar, who resets everyone's cooldowns and does it fully on all their abilities. Hers is a little bit more RNG as far as that goes, but she's got this turn meter fill here on her A1. She has an AoE that also heals by 15% of her max HP, and she has decent max HP, right? So if you build her with a lot of HP, you get some decent heals out of her. And this is the one I was talking about, where it decreases the cooldowns of all ally skills by 1 turn, right? So it doesn't completely wipe out their cooldowns. It doesn't reset everything. That's what Kymar does. But this ability is really, really good. And she's sort of like a mini Kymar because of this. And you can get this down to a 4-turn cooldown, which is pretty nice. And she's got the HP faction crypt thing. So Painkeeper, to me, I still feel like Painkeeper is actually one of the best rares in the game. She's great. And you can use her in several different places. I could actually see her being useful in Ice Golem, in Dragon, even in level 20 runs, and all the potion keeps. Minotaur. So Painkeeper is very, very useful. So I have her at 5-star still. I'm gonna 6-star Painkeeper, just because I think she'd be cool to use, and I do have her maxed out on her skills. Another one here, Harvester. She seems pretty cool actually too. She's got the weaken. She's got a block buffs, debuff that she can place as well, but it's only a single target. And then this is kind of interesting too, with a 90% chance of increasing the cooldown of one of the target skills by 2 turns at random. The problem with her, she's all single target, but she doesn't seem terrible, but her base stats are pretty low. Her base speed is high. Might be an early game type of hero there. So we've only got a couple more. Night Revenant, I wouldn't say you need to build any of these. And then Dwarves, obviously the last one here for Clan Boss, and he's one of my next 6 stars actually to test out, because he's got this debuff extension, but is Bulwark, and he's got the low version of Weekend and an HP burn. This guy's specifically made for Clan Boss. He's not very useful everywhere else, but he's a great Clan Boss champion. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know this is just kind of a champion review and my opinions on what I think, but I wanted to focus this on just Void Affinity rares and which ones I would recommend building, and I'll leave it at that. If you disagree with me, if you like what I said or anything, throw some comments in there. I think I mentioned this last video I created, but I actually have a pretty cool rig, dual monitor setup and everything coming Friday. It's going to take me a few days to kind of get used to everything too, so a little over a week probably. I'll actually be showing my face on some of these videos, and I'll still do some videos on my phone because I actually like doing things on the fly and everything too. But my channel is going to be much more crisp and everything too when I have everything set up and kind of play around with the software too. So again, if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for the support. Please like and subscribe. It really helps when you like the video too with the YouTube algorithm. And obviously subscribing really helps as a YouTuber because we're all trying to just grow our channels. And I want to thank everybody for watching. And I want to thank you for hanging out. And I hope you have a great day. Cheers.